Well, good evening. It's Tuesday night and welcome to Inside Bear Athletics on Bear TV. On this Tuesday night, it's all softball. We'll visit with the head coach of Bear softball, Coach Shea Johnson, plus a few players of the softball team will drop by for a couple of player spotlights. It's all softball Inside Bear Athletics on Bear TV next.
Inside Southwest Bear Athletics is your home for all things sports related at Southwest Mississippi Community College. Benji Embry is the voice of Southwest Bear Athletics and a seasoned sports broadcaster in Southwest Mississippi. You can hear him on game day broadcasting nearly all of our athletic events. Join us weekly on Tuesdays to catch up on the discussions. You can hear us live on Bear TV, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You can also download the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, and Amazon Music. So if you have questions or you just want to keep up with teams and stats, you have come to the right place. Inside Bear Athletics.
Well, welcome back here on Bear TV and Inside Bear Athletics. It's all softball on this Tuesday night. Our thanks to head coach Shea Johnson for joining us. Now let's have a few player spotlights for you. Inside the Southwest softball program, we've got a player here who's ready to introduce herself. First, good evening, and introduce yourself to the Inside Bear Athletics family.
Hey, my name is Shelby Mason, and I play first base here at Southwest, and I'm a sophomore this season.
Well, Shelby, let's start by talking about Shelby the person. Of course, this is before Southwest Mississippi Community College. Kind of tell us where you grew up and how your path led you to Southwest Mississippi Community College.
Okay, so I'm from Natchez, Mississippi. I went to Adams County Christian School in Natchez. I went there since the 3rd grade. I've been playing softball since I can remember, since I was big enough to pick up a bat, and just playing travel ball, school ball. And then it started to get in high school, and Coach Hannah started talking to me about coming to Southwest, and I came on my visit, and I just fell in love with the atmosphere here and the team and everything.
You talk about it being as long as you can remember. Do you remember the first person that introduced you to the game of softball?
Growing up, my parents were always big into softball. My mom actually played college softball, so she is the one that mainly got me going with softball, and ever since then, I just fell in love with the game.
Outside of your mom, and of course you mentioned your high school coach. Outside of your mom and your high school coach, who are some of the other people that's pushed you along the way to get where you are today?
Just my different travel ball coaches. I played with a couple different teams. I played with the 007s in Baton Rouge, and that was a big team. We won numerous tournaments, and that's kind of where I started growing as a softball player.
Well, you talked about Coach Hannah talking to you. You make your visit here to Southwest. Were there other options for you? I'm sure there were other options for you. What was the big thing that said Southwest is where I want to go?
Mainly just the campus, the team. Coach Shea, Coach Hannah, they just made it feel like home here. I just knew this is where I was supposed to be.
Let's talk outside of softball now. You've got other interests, obviously. What are some of the other things when you're not practicing or playing softball or talking softball? What are some of the things you like to do?
I really like hanging out with my family at home. Here, I'm not very far from home, so I get to go home a lot. I also like to play tennis. Most people don't know that about me, but that's something I enjoy to do on my free time. I also have always worked, so I really enjoy working.
Where do you work at?
I work at BASF in Vidalia, Louisiana. It's a chemical plant, so I do an internship there every summer.
So you're working, you're playing tennis, and you're doing softball, and you still manage to have time to do other college-like things.
Yes, sir.
Well, tell us a little about your tennis game. How long have you been playing tennis?
I started in 7th grade, and when I first started, I really wasn't very good, but I just kept playing, and I ended up being pretty decent at it, so I really like it.
So softball, tennis.
I played basketball in high school. I was on the cheer team, and track. I did track too.
Oh, so a lot of varied interests in your background. Let's talk a little bit about after Southwest. Season's about halfway done. Once this season ends, once your time at Southwest ends, for that matter, whether it be next year, this year, whatever. What are your plans for post-Southwest Mississippi Community College?
As of now, I plan to go to Louisiana Tech University in Ruston, Louisiana, and continue my degree in chemical engineering.
So let's say you moved on from college 10 years down the road, and you're at a softball game watching some girls play, and they mention, hey, Shea Johnson. What's the first thing you're going to think about when you hear that name years down the road?
He's kind of like a big teddy bear. He's like a second dad to all of us. He looks all big and scary, but he really is just a teddy bear.
What about Coach Hannah when you hear that name?
She is so fun. She's just like us. She loves to joke around with us, but she also knows when it's time to get serious, and she's just really helpful.
When you talk about how much you love them, say that somebody comes to you 10 years down the road and they're an aspiring college softball player, and they say, hey, I got this offer from Southwest Mississippi Community College. What are you going to tell them?
I'm going to tell them you should definitely go there. You'll never regret it, and you'll have the time of your life.
Well, great words from a great student athlete here and inside another Bear Spotlight on Bear TV. Thanks so much for taking some of your time with us. Good luck not only with the rest of your softball season, but of course down the road as well as you move on to a 4-year institution and into the career world. And we hope you never forget the time you spent here at Southwest Mississippi Community College.
Thank you.
We'll come back, another Bear Spotlight in just a few on Inside Bear Athletics on Bear TV.
Here's a quick look at the 2021 video roster of the softball team. Let's get to it. It's time to get back to Inside Bear Athletics.
Welcome back here on Inside Bear Athletics as we continue our all-softball edition of the program. Now Coach Shay Johnson visiting with us. Coach Johnson, again, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, before we talk about softball, let's talk a little bit about your accolades. A couple of weeks ago, picking up your 100th victory as head coach of the Southwest Lady Bears. So first off, congratulations from all of us to you. Secondly, 100 wins. How's it feel?
It feels great. You know, when I took the program over several years ago, it was one of our goals to reach, but certainly it's not my accomplishment alone. It's been the young ladies and the assistant coaches I've had along the way that have allowed me to get 100 wins here. But, you know, from where we started the program and where we're at now, it's just an awesome feeling to be able to accomplish. You know, when you set goals 5 years ago and we're winning 9 to 10, 11 games a year, and you want to get to where you're in the 25 to 30 games a year, and we've been able to accomplish that. It's a great feeling, you know. It's a great feeling that you know you're recruiting the right type of kids to do that, and that your administration is backing you in the right direction, and as coaches you're doing things that are working.
Well, not only did you get your 100th victory, but you got to, on that day, show off your brand new field, which I know we've talked about this before, but I know you're very, very happy about how that all came together.
Absolutely. I mean, we were out there cutting just a while ago, and the ability to play on a field after the kind of rain we've had, the rain that we're going to have, is just phenomenal, you know. And everybody that comes here is complimenting how good the field is, how nice it is, how it's playing. It's growing in very, very well. Our outfield fence, outfield area is growing in really well. So we're starting to green up everywhere. And we're just really excited about the future of that field and where it's going.
On a side note, I was worried when you told me when you were laying that sod and thought, when do you play again? But it has turned out pretty good over there, hasn't it?
Yes, when we had some recruits in last week, and we show a picture of the actual progression of that field, and I'm like, y'all wouldn't believe that that's November. Yeah, I'm like, that's November. We're playing in October on it. They're tearing it up in November, and to be on it the second week of January was amazing. So it was certainly a worrisome time, but it worked out great.
Let's talk a little bit about softball. You're about halfway through your season. You've had some big victories along the way. Where do you feel like your team is today?
I think we're progressing. You don't want to play your best ball early in the season. I don't think we've played our best softball yet. I think that as we are getting toward the end, I think our girls are getting better and better and better. We're getting better performances out of our pitchers, our hitters. We're playing good defense right now. And I think the girls understand, that the race to the playoff is a marathon, not a sprint. And we're getting into that time of the year where the marathon gets long, and of course that's something that we prepped about, but I think we gave it the ownership to the girls this year, which has been a tremendous deal for us, is that it's exciting when you can sit them down in a semicircle and say, okay, ladies, this is what we need to do to make the playoffs, and they're paying attention and they understand, and so they've taken a lot of ownership of where we're at. They're well aware of what we need to do to get to the state championship and how we're going to approach that when we get there.
Speaking of the state championship, I know a lot of other sports have had to kind of change the way they're doing things. For the most part, softball is going to keep kind of the same playoff structure.
We wanted to increase the numbers in the playoffs, and we ended up not being able to do that. As you know, basketball was able to increase their numbers tremendously. I think they took all 15 teams in the state plus 5 in Louisiana. But here we didn't do that in the state of Mississippi, which disappointed me a little bit because our girls, unlike basketball, our girls, baseball and soccer, we lost our season last year. So I felt like we kind of deserved a little bit of representation to increase those numbers in the state championship. But, the powers that be saw that wasn't going to happen, and that's okay too. We have to follow the rules that are set. But a little disappointing, because our girls, again, we go spring break last year and we get a phone call. We split with a ranked team out of Michigan, and then all of a sudden we don't ever come back. So these girls lost their season, so they're playing kind of with a chip on their shoulder about that.
Well, let's start talking a little bit more about the team. Let's go with the pitching first. Of course, you knew you had Jade. I think Grimion's come on to be a really, really good pitcher for you this season.
Grimion has just done a phenomenal job. I mean, her ability to go in and control the game is just phenomenal. The job she did against Jones the other day, keeping them off speed and never really got in trouble. She gave up a home run, gave up a few runs in there, but was able to keep her composure and get through the game. And in our league, if you run a pitcher out there that's, I don't want to quote her stat, but I think she's like 7-1 or something like that. And she's having a great year, and if she continues her success well into the playoffs, I think we have a real good shot.
And of course, Jade, your super sophomore.
Yeah, Jade has done a tremendous job. Jade has really shocked us. Her bat is back, and so we're not only getting good pitching out of Jade, but she's hitting in both games now, playing outfield a little bit when she's not pitching, and DPing when she's not playing in the outfield or pitching.
Let's talk about your offense a little bit, and I know we've talked about this after some of the games. It's in some games it's kind of been feast, in other games it's been famine. Where do you feel like your offense is right now?
I think we're batting about 365. I should have that number a little bit better. So, we've been a 300 average team for the last 4 years or 5 years I've been the head coach, and that was one thing that we wanted to do, was increase our ability to, increase our total batting average as a team, and we have several young ladies over 400 right now. So, unfortunately, when you play back-to-back, sometimes you face a different pitcher and you're kind of teed up on the speed of one pitcher, and then you kind of have a little composure. So you get to watch both games when you're there during our games. But as a team, we're hitting the ball, some 50 points better than we were a year ago. So as a head coach, I'm happy with that, and that's had a lot to do with our hitting instructor. We've got Michael Clements doing that, and he's done a great job with them.
I was going to say, we've talked a lot about Hannah Price in the past and what she means to your program, but also bringing in Michael Clements this year has really helped on the hitting side with the knowledge and the different look at the game that he brings, right?
Absolutely. He's got a baseball background. His daughter plays softball. He's got some travel ball teams. So Michael's ever evolving in the sport of what we're doing. So I think in some parts of it, we bounce things off, or he kind of brings a baseball aspect, and you kind of like, well, we really can't do that. We only can substitute once. But, I think our girls have really bought into what he does as far as the hitting. And by them buying in on that and trusting what he's saying and him traveling with us, it's just making us better and better as a team. And whenever you put together a staff and we can stick together, his plans are to come back next year and you start building that. Well, that becomes a great recruiting tool. Not only do we have the field, you got 3 coaches. Michael's coached on a collegiate level in baseball before, so he's played on the collegiate level. So I think having that all helps in the recruiting process. That, not only do you have pitching coaches now, me and Hannah and I, and the job she does, but, you got a guy that can teach hitting like he does. And we all help out. We all have what we're good at. And, we're very humble in that. In other words, if Hannah's got something in pitching that she thinks that she can't figure out, she asks me. If I got something that I can't figure out, I go to Hannah. Or same thing with hitting, if Michael asks a question, what were you thinking on that particular deal? Well, this is what I was thinking. He goes, I can buy that, So I think we bounce everything off, and nobody's got a lot of pride, and I think that's what's worked really well as a staff, that our kids see us communicate in a positive way. And, it showed on the field.
I also saw where, speaking of Michael Clements, you over the weekend went out to his facility and played a little softball, or practiced a little softball.
We practiced quite a bit. I mean, it also helps when you have another indoor facility, and he has an all-turf infield, and to go out there and work at ESA really, it brings a tremendous aspect when instead of sharing an in-store facility all the time where we have to wait till baseball's over with or what have you. And we still use it. It's big and nice and makes it nice, but to be able to go over on a Sunday afternoon and hit outside where we couldn't have done that here, certainly prepares you better for the game.
Well, as you get ready to kind of go towards the back half of your schedule now, you've got a lot of games that's still to play. What is it you're looking for out of the team? Let's go offensively first. What does that team need to do to get to the playoffs?
I think consistency, kind of what you talked about earlier, consistency with the bat. And we're starting to see that. We've got to close the second game out. Jones is a great team, probably one of the best teams in the nation, in my opinion. On paper, the best team in the nation, in my opinion. But I think we went out, we beat Jones. And a lot of people who weren't at the game or didn't watch the game, there was a time in the second game where we had 1 out, bases loaded, with 2 of our best home run hitters, or 2 of our home run leaders, I should say. Bailey Buckley's at the plate with 1 out, and then JADE LATHAM's coming up. So one swing in the back could change the whole thing. And, of course, if you tie it back up at that point, we go a different direction in the coaching aspect on the pitchers. I might lean to bring back in Jensen, but she was at 141 pitches, so we decided that we were going to, kind of go through our bullpen and finish the game out and see if we could keep it close. And but had we tied it up, might have tried to shut down with Jensen. Jensen had them off speed. Well, with her off speed, had them off balance, I should say. So I think consistency offensively will come. Keep producing runs, and not to make light, but we've got to learn to keep our foot on their throat. When you get a team down, don't have that bad inning. Mark. So that's kind of what we need to do.
Let's talk about as far as defensively goes. How do you feel like the Bears have done that so far? And again, what are you looking for the rest of the year out of them?
You're basically are playing with an offense that's coming in. So our offense has come in, and of course we rotate a lot of different kids through hitting situations. But our defense, we returned 2 middle infielders that played together last year here, but also they played together their entire life at North Pike. So I think that defensively, we're limiting our errors, and limiting mistakes, but we key on trying to get better as Southwest softball defensively, offensively also. But instead of preparing for other teams, as long as we can keep preparing ourselves, I think that we have a shot. But defensively, you know, we're getting stronger every week. We're making the plays. You're starting to see the rundowns work and get the outs on the rundowns and things like that you work on all year long. But I think we're where we need to be. I think we've figured out who needs to be in. But the best thing about this team is we have the depth to literally put anybody anywhere. We had a situation in the second game against Jones, and Jenna Brock had been fighting sickness. She has a problem right now going on with her health, and it's nothing that bad, but it causes her to get nauseated real bad as far as the bacteria that is in her stomach. And literally she would throw up and get back on the field. And, you know, at one point we come off the field, we take the field, and my starting shortstop's in the restroom kneeling down. And I'm like, no, we're sending her home. And I'm like, okay, well, we need to put Maggie McGee in. And I look at my sheet, and I batted Maggie the inning before. So now my backup shortstop can't go back in the game. So immediately, you know, we run a young lady out in right field. We move our right fielder, Bailey Buckley, to second base. And then we take our second baseman, who's played with Jenna, you know, went to shortstop. And Moak played shortstop the remainder of the game, you know. And it wasn't like she looked at me like I was crazy. She wasn't happy about it, but, you know, she knew what to do. So that interchangeable deal makes you feel good because you work on that every week.
And Coach, finally here, I think we go this direction. The baseball team kind of has the opposite situation than what you had. The baseball team had a lot of games early in the season the way your schedule, the way it's loaded, a lot of your games at the back half of your season are on the road as compared to being at home. Did you like having the home games early, or would you rather kind of split them around? What's your preference on that?
I'm not a big fan. Matter of fact, we've already sent an email out to our commissioner. We're trying to do more. It's kind of tough, you know, to go on the road to make the playoffs, and you need to win at Northwest, at Northeast. We got to go to East Central. But we do have some big games this week. You know, we go to Meridian tomorrow, and then we actually have Itawamba coming here Thursday, and then Gulf Coast here on Tuesday, and then we're at a homestand again with next Saturday, Mississippi Delta Community College. And then that's it. Then we head on the road for Pearl River. The last four are going to be War Daddies on the road. So I'm not a big fan of it. I kind of like what we did in the past where we played teams that were kind of in the old South during the week so we didn't have that long travel, and saved our northern teams to go play during the weekends. Kind of hoping our commissioner goes that direction again.
But for this year, you're going to have to buckle down, hit the road, and try to win some road games at the end.
And very fortunately, you know, we've played well on the road. I mean, to go into Jones, you don't get a more hostile environment. You know, Chris has done a wonderful job there, and tremendous facility, great team. To go in there and take one from Jones is tremendous. To get two is even a little tougher, but you know, I like our chances. I think our girls are ready to go on the road and you know, prepare. And again, we've laid it out. I mean, we have a lot of conversations about the number of games left, 16. What do we need to win to get in? So you know, they know their path. They've set it out, and they've set it before them, and I think they're up for the task, hopefully.
Well, Coach, it's down to the wire. We will, of course, visit with you hopefully in a couple of weeks when you're sitting here and laying a playoff bracket out in front of us. And
I want to mention one thing, accomplishment that we've had. I don't know if you were aware of, but the first time in school history.
Your national rankings.
Yeah,
yes.
National rankings, and we've been there 2 weeks in a row now, and of course we're hoping that this afternoon around 5 o'clock, after the win against Jones, maybe to move us up in the national rankings. But that was another thing that as a program and as a team, our girls really wanted to become a nationally ranked team. You know, to be out of 300-something junior colleges in the top 20 is a great accomplishment for our young ladies. I'm very proud of that. And
a lot of those ranked schools are teams that you played during the course of the year.
Yes, absolutely.
So to have a number by your name and a number by their name makes it that much sweeter, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when we went to Jones, it was 8 against 18.
Yeah, it was.
You know, but
two numbers up
it's a lot better to have a number because usually it's number 4 against Southwest.
Yeah.
You know,
both of you had numbers.
Right. It was great to look and see numbers. I was like, I had a number in front of my name. So.
I know. As I was watching, I was like, hey, that's cool. Number and number.
Yeah,
That's pretty nice.
Maybe we can get that double number down to a single number. You know.
Well,
That's
Coach,
how you go.
keep winning and that'll happen.
Absolutely. We're
Keep
gonna try.
winning. That's what we're hoping that the Southwest program. So we know the Southwest program is going to do is keep on winning as you make your run towards the playoffs. Well, thank you, Coach Shay Johnson. We appreciate your comments on your Southwest softball program. When we come back, another Bear Spotlight as we go inside Bear Athletics right here on the all softball edition of the program on this Tuesday night.
Let's get to it. It's time to get back to Inside Bear Athletics.
Well, welcome back to Inside Bear Athletics here on Bear TV. It's our all softball edition of the program, and we have another Bear Spotlight for you. So let's introduce yet another softball player to you. First, good evening. Introduce yourself.
My name is Jenna Brock. I play shortstop here, and I'm a sophomore this season.
Well, Jenna, as your time here at Southwest, let's talk about before Southwest. We always kind of like to get a background on the person. So kind of first tell us about your growing up days when you first were introduced to softball, where you went to school.
I went to school just across the street at North Pike. I grew up in this town, and I was first introduced to softball, like my teammate Shelby, as young as I can remember. My sisters were playing before me, and my dad's always been really big into getting us into sports, especially softball. And I just it's as far back as I can remember.
Well, we'll talk more about the North Pike days in just a few because I have a recruiting question about that. But let's talk a little bit about, you talked about your dad, your sisters being athletes. Obviously, it was your family that kind of got you into softball, but you talked about sports. What are some of the other sports that you played? Just even outside.
I played basketball kind of growing up, but in high school, I mainly stuck with softball and soccer.
Softball and soccer. Those are two sports that require a lot of work, don't they?
Yes, sir.
Well, you talked about your dad kind of introducing you to the sport. Who are some other folks outside of your family that really kind of helped you along the way in softball?
Well, my mom, but also like my tournament ball coaches and just tournament teammates, because I grew up playing with elite, and I had a great coach that pushed us there, and then all of the girls I played with were always trying to get each other better because we all wanted to play at the next level. So it was just something we all knew we wanted to do.
Well, let's talk about your recruiting time and how you chose Southwest Mississippi Community College. You played your high school ball literally steps away from where you play your college ball. You can see the fields, of course. I know you had other offers, but what made you decide to want to stay at home and go right down the road to play at Southwest?
Well, mainly I prayed about it because I was just not sure what I wanted to do, and when I prayed about it, God just put it more in my heart that it was Southwest. I mean, I love my hometown. I love the coaches here, and I just knew I was going to have great teammates when I came here. And one of my sisters went here, and she loved it, so that really helped.
Well, now that we've kind of gotten your recruiting part out of the way, let's talk about what your future plans include. You talked about being a sophomore here at Southwest. What's down the road for Jenna Brock?
I am doing nursing school. I got accepted into UMMC, and I will be starting that June 1st.
So an end to your softball career here at Southwest. Then.
Yes, sir. But I wouldn't want to go out any other way. I've loved my time here.
So on to nursing school and, of course, into the world. Let's talk a little bit about Years down the road, and I like to ask this question because I'm always curious to see what each individual person has to say. Down the road, you're at a softball game, maybe at North Pike, maybe here at Southwest, wherever it is, and somebody mentions Shay Johnson and Hannah Price to you. What are the first words out of your mouth when you hear those two names? And you can separate them. Give us Coach Johnson first.
Well, Coach Johnson, yes, he is big and scary, and he's going to push you and yell. He just blows up sometimes, but at the end of the day, he's always got your best interests at heart, and he's always going to be there for you. Like if we have anything going on off the field, he is going to be right there for us. He's very understanding, and he's very good at coaching girls. And then
Hannah Price.
Yeah, Coach Price. She is so much fun. I mean, she's just a couple years out of the game, so she still has this like fire and intensity for it. So she loves getting our practices very intense and pushing us, but at the same time, if we're on the bus, she'll be joking around with us, and she's just so much fun.
Well, one of the things that's important to us here at Southwest is always to have our former athletes talk to incoming athletes. So say you get a call from an aspiring high school senior who's thinking about softball options, and they've got 5 or 6 options on the table, and one of them happens to be Southwest Mississippi Community College, and they're saying, Jenna, tell me about Southwest. Why do I want to go there? What would you tell them?
You won't regret it. I've made lifelong friends here, and not just like Southwest softball, but Southwest like as a whole. The teachers are all caring for their students, and there's just so many things you can get into here. Like I've gotten into the BSU. I've just made so many memories here, and just the atmosphere on the field playing at Southwest is just unbeatable.
So what's it like playing on that new field here at Southwest?
We're very blessed to have gotten the opportunity to have that field. We all love playing on it.
Absolutely, the brand new softball field here at Southwest Mississippi Community College. Well, Jenna, thanks so much for joining us. We got to know you so much better. Good luck with the rest of your softball season. Good luck in nursing school, and we appreciate what you've done for Southwest Mississippi Community College and the softball program.
Thank you for having me.
That'll do it for another edition of Inside Bear Athletics on Bear TV. It was an all-softball edition. Remember to join us every Tuesday night, 6 p.m. right here on Bear TV and all the social media platforms of Southwest Mississippi Community College for Inside Bear Athletics.
Thanks for joining us for Inside Bear Athletics. To keep up with all current game stats, scores, and events, join us at www.southwestbearathletics.com.